was one of those gray mornings when life felt heavier than the sky itself, when even the sound of the wind carried loneliness. And in the heart of a widower named Samuel, that loneliness was louder than anything else. Samuel had lived through a tragedy that had broken him in ways no one could see. His beloved wife, Anna, had passed away during childbirth 2 years ago, leaving behind a tiny son named Jacob and a man who no longer believed happiness could return. And though Samuel had once been known as a strong, hard-working farmer, the type of man neighbors admired for his determination, he had since become a shell of that strength, struggling each day to earn just enough to buy bread, milk, and sometimes medicine when little Jacob fell sick. Because grief does not only rob a man of his wife, but it steals his energy, his motivation, his ability to believe in tomorrow. And every morning Samuel rose before dawn, walked miles to take whatever odd jobs he could, lifting crates at the market, hauling lumber, shoveling dirt for others' fields, anything to keep a roof over his boy's head. But even then the nights were cold, and his bed felt too large, too empty, and Jacob's questions, "Where's Mama?" stabbed deeper than any wound. On this particular morning, Samuel was walking home from a failed attempt at finding more work, his shoulders sagging under the weight of bills he couldn't pay, when the whistle of the train echoed across the valley, and he found himself drawn toward the railroad station. Not because he expected anyone, but because in that small town the station was the only place where something unexpected might happen, where strangers arrived and departed, where life still seemed to move while his own was frozen in sorrow. So he wandered there, his boots dusty, his coat worn thin, his eyes hollow, and it was there on the wooden bench, beneath the peeling paint of the old depot, that he saw her. She was sitting alone, a suitcase by her feet, her dress stretched tight over her frame, and though her face was soft and kind, her eyes were red from crying, and the people around her whispered cruelly, shaking their heads as if her presence was a shame. And Samuel, though he tried not to care about strangers anymore, felt something stir inside him, a faint pull he hadn't known in so long, for here was a woman abandoned, forgotten, just as he was. Her name, though he did not yet know it, was Grace, and she had come on the morning train, full of hope, because she had been promised marriage by a man who had courted her through letters, a man who swore that weight did not matter, that her heart was what he valued, and she had believed him, sewing her best dress, saving every penny to buy the train ticket, her heart leaping with dreams of finally belonging, of finally being loved. But when she stepped off the train, when she found him waiting, his eyes had scanned her body, his mouth had curled with disgust, and he had spat words so cruel they burned deeper than fire. "You're too fat, I can't marry you. What will people say?" And he had turned his back and walked away, leaving her at the platform like discarded baggage, leaving her to face the stares, the laughter, the pity of strangers. And Grace had sat down on that bench humiliated, her whole life collapsing in a single breath, wondering if she should board the next train back, though back meant nothing but more mockery, more loneliness, because her family had already ridiculed her for dreaming of marriage. And so she sat clutching her suitcase, trying not to cry again, but her tears betrayed her, sliding down her cheeks in silent rivers. Samuel noticed, and though his heart was closed, though he had promised himself never to feel again, something about her pain mirrored his own, and without realizing it he walked closer, his footsteps echoing on the platform, and he asked quietly, "Miss, are you all right?" Words so simple, yet they broke the dam of silence around her. And she looked up, startled to see a man not mocking her, not turning away, but actually standing there with concern in his tired eyes. And for a moment she couldn't speak. Then she shook her head, whispering, "No, I'm not." And Samuel sat beside her, leaving just enough distance to be respectful, and he told her softly, "I know what it's like to lose everything." And Grace's lips trembled as she confessed, "He left me here, said I was too fat to be his bride." And Samuel's jaw clenched at the cruelty, at the thought of any man treating a woman that way. And without thinking he said, "That man doesn't deserve you." Words so firm that even Grace blinked in surprise, because she had never heard anyone defend her, not in her entire life. They sat for a long while, two broken souls sharing silence, and Samuel, though still grieving Anna, though still terrified of the future, looked at Grace and saw not her weight but her courage to show up, to believe in love, to risk her heart when most people never dared. And in that moment something extraordinary happened, something neither expected. Samuel realized he didn't want to walk away. He didn't want to return to his lonely shack and cold nights. He wanted to take a chance, and so he turned.